Hi everyone, welcome to the latest edition or episode of the Cloud9 Spain podcast. I think this is the first one, guys, that we've done in lockdown, is that right?
Yep, first one.
Wow, okay.
First one.
So we're giving this a go. Also the last one, maybe it will be the last one, I don't know. But then if we don't do it by Zoom or whatever this thing is, then we're going to be sitting opposite each other, spitting at each other and infecting each other. And oh God, it's going to be dreadful, isn't it?
Don't want that.
The safety distance. So I think with new regulations,
my spit travels a long way. Definitely more than 2 meters.
Who knows? We have a big office, so we can sit apart.
We can. Anyway, let me introduce you guys. We've got Emma Kavanagh, who's head of our business development, and we've also got Dominik Maroszek, who's sales director. So these are the two guys that we brought into the podcast today, because what we're going to be discussing is what's happening in the Costa del Sol property market. We're into our 9th week, I think it is the 9th week of lockdown, where we haven't really been allowed to go anywhere or do anything other than absolutely essential things like go and buy food and go to the pharmacy and stuff like that. We're occasionally allowed out, I think, for 1 hour a day for a walk, if we're lucky, but only within a kilometre of our homes. So we are still on pretty strict lockdown, but we are hoping to come out of it in the coming days, should we say. But yeah, we're into our 9th week. And we're getting asked a lot by pretty much all our clients, what's going on over there? What's happening in the Spanish market? Is it collapsing? Is it on fire? Whatever. And obviously we're having to advise our clients. And all we can do really is give them anecdotal evidence of how we're finding things in terms of supply, demand, market conditions, what we're hearing from other agents and developers. Because we don't have a huge volume of data. That's one thing that Spain often lacks. And if we do get data, it's often old. So it's often sort of a year old or 6 months old. So we're not going to bombard you with graphs and data and stuff like that. But we will give you our honest opinion on what's happening and tell you what we expect to happen. We'll get our crystal balls out. Hey.
Sometimes it's nice to have a personal touch rather than data and graphs and bars. It's nice to have the people on the ground with the experience.
It is. And I think, graphs can only tell you one thing. Like you say, we can delve deeper than that and actually give you examples of things that are happening, examples of clients talking to us, what they're wanting, what they're expecting, what they're feeling. So hopefully we can give you, the touchy-feely side to what's happening as well. So let's start by just running through how the COVID-19 virus and the pandemic has affected the market so far. And I think there's 3 ways of looking at this from a stats point of view. One is the number of inquiries that we're getting. The second one is the number of appointments we're making. And the third one is obviously the number of sales, the actual transaction volume. I'll go first in terms of number of leads we're generating. We actually reduced our lead flow deliberately. So we're not putting as much money into it at the moment because we obviously are trying to preserve some cash, as any business is. And we are conscious that the market is paused at the moment. So even if we got a glut of inquiries, the chances are we can't actually process many of those or any of them into actual monetary transactions. But the inquiry level is actually fairly consistent. We're down sort of 30, 40%. We started when the pandemic came in, it dropped quite significantly, 50% and maybe even 60%. But now the people I speak to, other agents say that it's back to around 30, 40% off its original figures. So that gives you an idea that inquiries are down, but they are still there. Appointments, I mean, what's happening out there on the ground?
I've had a couple of appointments with clients, even done a few live tours. So I've been able to visit the property and do a live tour with the client on Zoom or WhatsApp. And I've took a couple of local clients as well that live here that are looking for their permanent home. So yeah, people still out and about.
So it's only like now in the last couple of days we've been able to actually tour clients here, isn't it? Really, before that we weren't able to, but you did sell a nice villa over the phone pretty much and via email and like you say, videos.
Yeah, different type of appointments, right? It's more digital now, it's all virtual.
Yeah.
But you said that we are breaking it down into 3 aspects, right? But I would like to bring in the emotional aspect too, because now clients have changed, in my opinion. A few of the clients I speak to now have gathered new values that they would like to have. Some that really sit on smaller apartments that now want to move and have a second home with a garden where they have more space around them. So it really changed the perspectives and necessities of what clients today want and now start to value again. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. In fact, I'll come on to that in a minute, because we're going to talk about people who've instructed us to list their properties. And there's a good example of exactly what you were saying there. What I've said to a lot of people who say, is there desperation in the market? What's happening in the market? This is a market, or these are market conditions that I have never come across before. I've been in this business for 20 years. And normally any market has supply and demand. So normally if you have more listings available than there is demand, then obviously that can put pressure on prices. They start to decrease, and then you have a market that starts to decline. Likewise, if you have a load of demand and no stock, then obviously prices start to inflate. This market, apart from the odd one or two things happening, there is absolutely no demand. People can't actually buy anything really. So there's no demand and there's no supply. We, in the last 9 weeks, we normally, Emma, you'll know better than me, we normally get 3 or 4 listings a week.
Yeah.
People phone us up, call in, say, we're interested in selling our villa or apartment. In the last 9 weeks, we have had one new listing instruction. And that, just referring to your point, Dominik, that was from a client of mine who has an apartment, and they're now looking to upgrade to a villa with a private pool, because they're thinking, do you know what, all this madness with the airlines and stuff like that, we want to be able to drive down with our dogs for 2 or 3 weeks, or even 2 or 3 months at a time, and stay in our home, which will be a nice villa with a private pool and a garden for the dogs.
Yeah.
So the only reason they're selling is not because they want the cash out, but it's actually because they want to trade up for lifestyle reasons.
So you may find that clients who wanted to be in the centre of all the action, in the centre of Estepona, in the centre of Marbella, so close to the action, now may change, like Dom said, the emotional aspect, and want to, like you say, have a villa up in the hills or in the mountains where they've got their own personal space.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's a really weird market, because I think buyers, if you're on the market now to buy a property in Spain, or you're going to be in the next 6 months, I think you automatically assume that because this pandemic is causing problems for everyone, that you're going to pick up a bargain, that you're going to be able to come to Spain and you're going to be able to say, right, that property there at 500,000 euros, I'm going to offer you 300,000 because I know you're desperate. And actually, I'm not seeing any desperation. I don't know about you guys, but we all, between us, we all get hundreds of emails from different agents every day telling us about their, hot properties, their bargains, their distress sales. I haven't seen one.
No.
That I've thought, wow, what a deal. I got one this morning from an agent, and it was a townhouse in Benavís, looked lovely, special deal. It'd been reduced from 275,000 to 259,000. A 16,000 euro saving. I think it was almost a 6% discount. That was it. So I think people who are expecting to be able to access stunning 30-40% off deals are going to be disappointed.
Yeah, I've got like 20 or 30 of my own personal listings, and not one vendor has called me to reduce the price. I've pretty much spoken to them all about the market and what's happening here on the ground, and they've asked me to pop round and check their property, but I've not had anyone say they want to reduce their price at all. So like you say, I think there's a pause.
I think that's it. I think most people are either still employed or are getting assistance from different governments, and they can't really spend much money because they're all sat at home. They're maybe getting themselves a mortgage holiday or whatever. So their outgoings are fairly minimal. Mine are. I can't believe how much money we normally spend on tat.
Yeah, I think I've put 20 euros in petrol in my car in the past 9 weeks.
We're just not going anywhere, not doing anything. And I think, a lot of people, most people, I think, are viewing this, like you said, Emma, as a pause, as a hiatus in the market where there's just nothing going on. People have just turned it off, haven't they? Mid-March, they went, right, you're all going to just sit at home for 6 to 8 weeks.
Well, it's just chilling out and reloading and re-energizing, ready to go.
There are people out there who are going to be desperate, of course. There's going to be people who are running out of cash, running out of money. And that's a, you know, an horrendous situation. But I think the vast majority of people are treating this as a pause. I think, look, don't get me wrong, if this goes on for another 6 months into next year, then it's different, because people will then start having to sort of plan ahead and start getting the hold on of some of their assets, or liquidate some of their assets and get hold of some cash. But at the moment, I think people are just content to look at this as a 3 to 6 month maybe hiatus and go again after that, like you said. What do you guys think? Do you think, Dom?
Well, like you said, that everything's on a lockdown, and we can't really know when everything opens again how that's going to affect the people's state of mind, the environment, and so forth. But yeah, I also believe that many vendors appreciate having a second home here, and might even reconsider selling and not put the price down because they know the value of what they have, and might even come to use it themselves. As Emma was saying before, if you're somewhere in a big city where you are constantly immersed in action, and you know you have an escape here in Marbella, a nice little place where you can come and relax, you're not probably going to want to sell it for the penny on the dollar. You might as well just use it for your own sake.
Yeah.
So it's very difficult to determine the outcome of it, because we're still in the midst of it all.
I saw something quite interesting on the news yesterday, and it was a lady in the UK that was selling her house, and the UK estate agents have just been allowed to go back and do the visits as we have. And they were saying that every time, you know, she has to sit outside of the property whilst the client and the agent goes in. And every time that she has a visit, she has to then go around and clean the whole house. So that might some vendors off wanting to sell at all, because that not everybody's going to want to clean their whole house after someone's come. Might be a bit extreme, but
Emma, Dom, you're going to have to get your cleaning uniform on and your rubber gloves.
Yeah, I see something very positive in this, actually, because instead of clients seeing 50 properties in a day, it will be more qualified leads. It will be It will be a shift in the way we communicate with clients and the way we source the real necessities of a client and determine which house is 100% suitable. And we bring them to 3 properties instead of 6, of which one is really their dream home. So because we have more time now, I've been spending a lot of time really getting to know the clients, getting to know their emotional side, their rational side, and I understand them better than I ever did before. Because they have more time to explain to me what it actually means for them to buy a house and what values they want to take out from it.
Absolutely.
So I don't think we'll come to a fluctuation of visits. We're just going to funnel it down to a point where we just show 3 or 4 properties, of which one will be the dream home.
I think you're right. What we're doing is we're actually, I mean, we've talked about it last week. We're going to make it as a matter of routine to video all our listings. So any property that we have coming onto the market, I mean, developers do it all the time. So you're right, Dom. If a client says, you know, I'm interested in these 20 properties, we can actually send them 20 videos and say, look, this is a walkthrough of this development. This is a walkthrough of this property. And then they shortlist from home and say, okay, when I do come over, when I am ready to come over, these are the 5 that I want to see. Yeah. And it's, you know, it is a different way of working. And you're right. We've got the time to do it now. We've got the time to invest into that, almost that previewing stage where we can try and help clients to narrow things down.
Exactly. And I think this is going to be a game changer.
Yeah.
That's very good for us because we are very communicative with our clients. But I think this will drop a bit of order into the market.
Yeah. No, that's agreed. When do we think we're going to see clients here? I mean, obviously we've got local people. We're transacting at the moment with people who live here who maybe want to, you know, buy something or trade up or whatever. But when do we think we're going to see the Germans, the Brits, the French, the Americans? Any ideas?
I really pray soon because I miss my clients.
You're dying of boredom.
Yeah, when I do see them on the screen, but you know, I'm an emotional person. I like tangible things. So having a client in front of me is always a difference.
Yeah, there'll be no hugging and kissing and shaking hands though, Dom.
I know.
Yeah,
I just made myself.
I did that yesterday with my accountant. It was very embarrassing. It didn't go well.
It's a difficult question to answer because every European country has different measures of lockdown, and I've read that Ryanair is starting to have flights back to Spain in June, end of June.
Yeah.
But then again, many of the clients that I speak to, they don't want to fly. They've already planned driving down in their own car to come here. So those clients who really want to be here will always find a way sooner or later.
Yeah.
And they're not going to be dependent on traveling in the air. But
it's interesting because in terms of our marketing activity, we're probably looking at a 3-stage getting back to some sort of normality. The first stage is appealing to people who are here locally, because we know that they can view things. We know that they're going to be able to be at a more advanced stage of the sales process. The second wave of people will be probably mainland Europeans who, as you said, Dom, can actually drive here. Because I think yesterday they were talking about the Brits, because they're an island and because they've got this quarantine that they've announced. You know, they may be looking at towards the end of the summer, even September, before they can really travel by air. So it's one of those things from a marketing point of view. We're looking at it on a daily basis and just adjusting things. But I originally said that I expect to be back to work in May sometime, and I expect to see clients from June. I still stick to that. I might be a month behind on the client side, but the Spanish are desperate, aren't they, to open their beaches, their costas for tourists, because without tourism, you know, Spain is going to need a lot of help, I think.
Agreed,
yeah.
Very much.
So I think there will be some element of tourist travel and staying in accommodation here during July and August. I think our summer might be August, September this year, but as you said, we just have to wait and see.
Yeah. I mean, it's, as you were saying, it's very difficult to narrow it down and to market it, and from a marketing perspective, because we don't know how it's going to evolve, what laws, when countries are opening the borders, etc. But all I can say is that the vast majority of clients are very eager, and they're starting to think outside the box.
Yeah.
And my client now knows a travel route from Switzerland, how to come to Marbella, for instance, through countries which open first, later, second. So he's already mind mapped a way to come down because he really wants to.
Yeah.
And that, again, I reckon will bring us clients that are a step further in the sales process.
Yeah.
Because they're so determined and calculated and thought through on how to come here. It already means that they're very eager to spend time here and to buy a property.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I checked yesterday with our people who are speaking to clients on a daily basis, and I think we've got about 30 or 40 who are red hot in terms of wanting to be here and wanting
ready
to purchase.
to come. Yeah.
They're almost narrowed down to sort of 2 or 3 properties or projects that they want to see, and they are just waiting for the green light to travel. So we've got this almost like this pent-up demand that needs to be satisfied, and then obviously any new demand that comes from that. I mean, what opportunities do we think are going to be available for clients, for buyers in the second half of this year? Do you think there's going to be any bargains flying around or any discounts?
As you were saying, Sean, there's always bargains on the market, whether we frame those bargains because of the corona and the lockdown, or whether we frame it to Brexit. There are always people in distress. So I really hope it doesn't get influctuated where people just frame the market as a bargain market because there are a few handful people selling.
Yeah, but also what is a bargain?
Yeah.
You know, what is that bargain? Is it because prices here, you know, they were top of the market, I think, for the past 6-12 months. You know, Spotlight's been on Costa del Sol, Malaga, Marbella for quite a while now, and I think prices have been quite toppy. And we normally look to negotiate about 5% off asking price as a norm. I don't think we'll see much difference in that.
No, I think some properties, you know, it all depends on the individual vendor, doesn't it? And everyone behaves in different ways. There's different nationalities involved, different customs, different, you know,
currencies, different, yeah.
Yeah, and I think a lot of, you know, not a lot, but some properties are overpriced. I mean, we have a policy at Cloud9 that if somebody comes to us with a listing and it's overpriced, we don't take it on because we know we can't sell it. So why waste our time and their time? But, you know, there will be some price corrections. But I think you're right, Emma. I don't think there's going to be, you know, for correctly priced properties, I don't think there's going to be massive discounts because we're not seeing the distress in the market.
Anything that's overpriced will just come back down in line with the market, I think.
They
need to sell.
Yeah, there might be an opportunity from developers. I spoke to a couple of agents yesterday about this, and they all say the same thing about the market, by the way. A couple of people who've also been here for 20 years, and they said they're not seeing distress because everything's just on hold. There's no supply, no demand. But what they do expect to see is that some developers who rely on volume sales to drive cash flow, obviously if they're sitting on stock, then they might have to liquidate some of that stock by offering incentives or some form of discount to buyers. Now, I'm not saying that's going to be the case with every developer or any of them, because some of them or all of them might have renegotiated their finance packages with banks. But I know that some developers are coming to the end of year end at the end of December. So in quarter 3, quarter 4, they might be more inclined to entertain an offer or throw in a few extras or whatever that might be. So we might, I think, rather than from private individuals, I think there might be opportunities from selected developments that might be worth clients having a little look at. You agree with that?
Agreed.
100%.
Okay. Should buyers wait until 2021, or should they get stuck in now if they can?
I mean, you know how it goes. Don't wait and buy land and wait. It's the same principle. If you're eager to buy something, you should start your search as soon as possible, especially now as everything will become digital and the marketing is more online. You'll be able to do better homework. Once you're ready, you can then come and execute your wish to buy something. So I really wouldn't wait. I would be more observant of the market because as you said, we are in a lockdown. Everything is locked down. So our decisions, thoughts, etc. Once everything opens, great opportunities will come again for everyone, for sellers and buyers.
Yeah.
So waiting is in my opinion, obsolete.
I think it's a good opportunity for clients. Whilst agents have got time on their hands, it's a good opportunity for them to use us to get better product knowledge, market knowledge, get us out there, look, doing videos. If you want to really get to grips with this market and have a look at some great stock, get us out there, doing a few videos for you and shortlisting with you and working with you on a consultative basis, because we do have the time to do that. We're not rushing around from appointment to appointment at the moment. So if you are in the market and you are serious, ask us to help, ask us to work with you. That would be my advice. And I think also, just to sort of almost coming to the end now of this podcast, if we're in the market, what else can buyers do to prepare? I mean, obviously they can get us doing work, but should they be looking at getting things like mortgages and legal?
Yeah, well, banks are all still working from home as well, and a few of the staff are still in the branches, so clients can still apply for mortgages and get them pre-approved, ready for when they come over.
I think that's really important, because if you have a market that's having a little shake, I don't expect it to be any more than that. And if you're coming over looking for a bit of a deal, if you're coming over, for instance, looking at developments and you think maybe I can negotiate with a developer and get a few extras or a few quid off, if you're mortgage approved, if you're ready to go, if you've got all your ducks in a row, you've spoken to a lawyer, you've spoken to a mortgage advisor, you're ready, you know how much you've got to spend, you know your exact budget, you know you're mortgage approved, then it gives you the strength when you're putting an offer forward.
You've got much more buying power, yeah.
You've got real buying power, because the seller, whether it's a developer or a private individual, is going to think, wow, this person is prepared, got everything sorted out, they're ready to go, and they've made me an offer. They're the perfect buyer. So my advice to buyers who are waiting and maybe have a bit of time on their hands is get things moving, get things sorted. Even if you don't buy, at least get things moving so that if you come across an opportunity, you're ready to pounce on it.
Yeah. Do your homework.
Do your homework. Get Dom to help you. He looks far too chilled out there.
There's lots of homework to be done, and we've got lots of information to give you.
We have, and we've done this pod just to give you a bit of an overview, and rather than me wittering on my own, which I've pretty much done anyway, I wanted to involve you to balance it up, to give your perspective, because you're the guys that are out there on the road and on the ground, itching to get stuck back in. So. Yeah, we are looking forward to seeing our clients again. Looking forward to seeing you guys again in the office without affecting each other. And anything else you want to say before we finish?
Dom, I think he was saying there that he actually misses us. I think he was hinting that he misses us.
Well, actually, having so much time on my hand, I think a lot of people realize what's important for them now.
Yeah.
Right? More time on their hands, they get to think and feel.
Do you think we're all going to be able to hold down full-time jobs though? Because I'm kind of getting used to waking up when I want and kind of, strutting around in my vest and my shorts.
It's going to be hard to get back to normal. 12 o'clock's my new 10 o'clock.
Then again, what's normal and who defines normal, right? We are always in an ever-changing environment, and this is just part of the change.
It is. It is.
So we're humans, and intelligence is the ability to adapt to circumstances that
we will adapt.
Right. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to be adapting.
Yeah, we are.
And moving forward.
We are indeed. Absolutely. Well, listen, thanks, guys. You can get back to walking your dogs and having your lunch or whatever you were doing before I interrupted you.
But quite frankly,
Judge Rinder's on in a minute, isn't he?
Yeah, he's swimming as well. That's my morning.
Say something which is really funny, in my opinion. The weather, really quickly. We've been stuck in rain for the past lockdown period.
I know, it's gone a bit grim, hasn't it? I had my birthday in lockdown 2 days ago, and it was. I'm just looking out my window now, and it was a bit like this: grey skies and rain. But next week, hopefully, we'll be out of lockdown on Monday, the 18th of May, and we can go out and we can sit in half-empty bar terraces. We can
have a beer.
All in the same car from the same household. That's exciting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, listen. It is what it is.
It is what it is. Listen, more than anything, anyone who's listening into this and watching this, we hope you're safe. We hope you're well. And we are really looking forward to seeing our clients and our customers again. We can't wait. And until then, until we meet again, oh God, here we go. We will see you hopefully soon. Take care.
Ciao.
Take care. Bye.